Let's see Paul Allen's card. Look at that subtle off-white coloring. The tasteful thickness of it. Oh my god. It even has a watermark. Something wrong? Patrick? You're sweating.
2, 3. There you go. We're
Still missed
rolling.
it. I think you still missed
Let's do
it.
this.
What's up, everybody? It's Darius here.
It's Changbin here.
And we're back with another episode of the Beanbag Box Podcast.
Welcome, everyone.
Yo, we're coming to you live from the bed this time just because we're just too lazy to go to the living room.
And it's so comfortable right now.
You guys should count yourself lucky. In the future, people are going to be talking about this podcast. They're going to be like, man, we were with them when they were podcasting from the bedroom. You know what I'm saying?
They didn't even have a studio.
Exactly. But what did we watch today, Jump In?
We watched American Psycho.
Yeah.
Starring Christian Bale, Chloe Sevigny, Justin Theroux, Willem Dafoe. It's just amazing cast. So many amazing casts.
You forgot Reese Witherspoon.
Oh yeah, what did you say?
Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, Reese Witherspoon.
What did I say?
That's what you just said.
So yeah, we got Reese Witherspoon. Let me pull up the synopsis so we can get into this. Jump in. You know what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to vamp.
Yes.
Okay. We'll keep working on it. Eventually we'll get there. Jeez Louise.
I was just like, yes.
Alrighty. So a wealthy New York investment banking executive, Patrick Bateman, hides his alternate sociopathic ego from his coworkers and friends as he dives deeper into his violent hedonistic fantasies. I'm starting to think that I don't have the ability to read.
Yeah, me neither.
Every time I read one of these, I get hung up on a word.
Let me do it next time.
Okay.
I
next
might do
time
it better
you
than
do it.
you.
Okay. Oh, wait. Before we get into the review, I
Yeah.
need a Korean word of the day, but it has to be about the movie. So.
I already thought about it.
Okay. what
I
do
got
you
a good one.
What do you got?
It's 미쳤다.
Michota? Which
미쳤다.
means crazy.
미쳤다.
It just means crazy, right?
Yeah.
Or does it mean like psycho?
미쳤다. I would say crazy. 미쳤다. It could be used as like when somebody's crazy or something is crazy, or it could be like expression of like this is nuts. Awesome in like awesome way. Yeah, you can say 미쳤다.
Okay, so let's get into the review of this movie because this movie is heavy. So for those that don't know, this movie is based on a book by
Yeah.
the same name. I believe it's called American Psycho.
Yes.
And obviously it stars Christian Bale as Patrick Bateman, and it opens with just him getting into like his day-to-day like routine of being like a crazy rich Wall Street banking executive. They never really get into what he actually does. The movie is more of like a it just flies right past that. Let's just set the
That's
stage
the whole
as
point,
he's
though.
wealthy.
That's
Yeah.
the whole point though.
What do you mean?
Like I think they like don't disclose what he exactly do by showing how fucking empty and meaningless himself is as a person.
Yeah.
Like nothing he does is fucking meaningful.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. That's not the point. I guess that's what they're saying. Is the point isn't what he actually does. The point is whatever he does has given him a lot of wealth. I think the point is whatever he does gives him a lot of wealth, and that would make most people happy and satisfied. You know what I mean? So they're setting the stage already. It's like, okay, this guy has everything most people could ever want, and he's not satisfied.
He's not satisfied, or yeah, he's definitely not satisfied. I feel like he's like constantly trying to show his wealth to people around him
Yeah.
by like constantly try to like make a reservation that he can't even get into,
Yeah.
and like fucking business card scene.
Yeah. So I think we should establish though. So this movie came out in the 2000s, but it's meant to portray the 80s.
Is it? I thought
Yeah.
it was like 90s.
No, it's definitely the 80s, and you could tell by the soundtrack and like the music they're playing is late 80s, early 90s kind of stuff. One thing that I found that was interesting, I was doing a little bit of research for this movie. So the routine that he goes through in the beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
like the working out and the aftershave that he uses, not the specific aftershaves, but the routine, in
Peeling
general.
face mask.
Yeah, so I heard that Christian Bale is known as being like a method actor, right? So like whatever role he's gonna play, he like embodies that role, so he can like give the best performance. So apparently, in preparation for this role, he did that routine
For days.
I think it was for like months or weeks.
What? Every single day?
Yeah,
Every single day.
which it makes it more interesting when you find out that he wasn't even supposed to play this role.
I'm dying to know who was supposed to play this role.
Okay, so
I am dying to know because he's like perfect fit for this role, don't you think?
I would say so, but I mean, hindsight is always 20/20. But so originally it was supposed to be Leonardo DiCaprio. And,
Nah.
Okay, so actually, from the story that I heard is that Christian Bale and the director of this movie, let me look up who the director of this movie was.
Mary Herron?
Mary Herron had plans to make this movie together before they even sold it to a studio. And she was like, I want you to be in this movie, and this is what we're going to do, right?
To Leonardo DiCaprio?
No, to Christian Bale.
Oh, yeah.
So then their agents go to the studios and sell the movie. Like, okay, this is the movie we want to make. This is who's going to direct it, blah, 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 blah. Well, actually, not this is who's going to direct it. They forgot to include who's going to direct it and who is going to star in it. So when they got the green light to make the film, they brought Mary Herron in or whatever, but they didn't have a lead actor to play Patrick Bateman.
Yeah.
And the studio wanted a big name star. And I guess the biggest name star at the time was
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Although he was kind of known for being like a young teen heartthrob at the time. It
Definitely.
was like, when did Titanic come out?
97. And then prior to that, it was like Romeo and Juliet, Basketball
Yeah.
Diaries.
So he was like the big star. So they wanted him. And of course, Mary Herron wanted not Patrick Bateman, Christian Bale. So they went on and on. They threw out like all kinds of crazy names. I forgot. I saw like a list, but it was like whoever the A-list stars were at the time. Christian Bale still wasn't like a big, huge star.
Yeah.
And eventually, they were able to negotiate to get Christian Bale into this movie. But in order to get him in, they had to have other big name stars. So they're like, they wanted to like offset it, right? So that's why William Dafoe is in this movie.
You mean Willem Dafoe?
Willem Dafoe. That's why Willem Dafoe is in this movie, basically. So like, who else? I'm trying to think if any of the other actors in this movie were like big name stars.
Justin Theroux?
Was he? I'm not super familiar with him.
He was the villain in the, what was it, that 3-girl movie?
The 3-girl movie.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Fuck.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, your memory is like fading.
I forgot the
slowly
name.
fading.
Shit. I'll try to think about it. Like, that movie with Drew Barrymore, Cameron Diaz, Lucy Liu.
You mean Charlie's Angels?
Yes, Charlie's Angel. He was the villain.
Yeah,
Remember?
But this came out way before that.
Not way before. It was like a couple of years ago. A couple of years prior to that movie.
This movie came
Yeah.
out before Charlie's Angels.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he was considered a big star.
Well, I guess I'll fuck up then.
I would hazard a guess and say that 99.9%
I'll
of people don't know who
shut
that
the
is.
fuck up then.
But anyway, so the studio was like, we're gonna pay Christian Bale the minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think at the
Minimum
time was
wage.
like $50,000.
Yeah.
And they got
Damn.
these big name actors, and I forgot the budget of the movie. Here, let me look it up, because the budget of the movie, I think it was like 15 million or something.
15 million?
50.
50?
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
Let me see if I can find it. If I can't find it, I'll just give up. Well, whatever. Let's just go with 50 million. I think they said like half of the budget was securing the soundtrack,
Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, soundtrack in the movie is really good.
which kind of makes sense, right? Because there's a
Yeah.
lot of like huge stars, huge names in this movie.
Whitney Houston, Phil Collins and Genesis.
Well, the Whitney Houston one is specifically is kind of interesting. So basically, the Whitney Houston, they wanted too much money.
Really?
So the way they got around it was by, I don't know if you noticed in the movie, it wasn't the actual song.
It wasn't.
It was an orchestral.
Yeah.
So that's how they got around it.
Yeah, I was listening to it, and it was like it sounds like great as the Lovable, that song, but it was like there's no vocal, just orchestra version. I was like, oh, I guess that exists. I never knew that.
Yeah. So that's how they got around that. I'm sorry. I'm like vomiting all the facts I learned about this movie.
That's
because
okay.
I did like a week's worth of research.
You're the fact machine in this household.
But so you get into the background of the movie. I really think the backgrounds of movies is what makes them interesting, you know? Like what you see on the screen is one thing, but what it took to get that on screen, I think is like the most interesting
It's always really interesting to hear like how they made this movie, you know, if they ever disclose it, how they made this movie, how they, you know, came to cast this person and that person, and how much budget they spend. It's always interesting to me, at least, to hear that. Yeah.
But so let's get back into the plot. So the movie opens
Of
up
course.
with him, you know, doing his daily life. We find out he's a, you know, executive. He's incredibly vain and narcissistic. And he's like so consumed by impressing the people that he works with. So
Very.
I heard that this movie was meant to be like a commentary on like capitalism. Does that come across to you?
Yes, commentary on capitalism, and you know, in the Paul Allen's room, one of the wall, it says that yuppie, blah blah blah, right? Yuppie is the word that used to describe those type of people, like very wealthy Wall Street people, those type of, you know, basically noobs, and
Knobs?
yeah, I think it's like talking direct shit on yuppies and those type of people, and how fucking meaningless life they're living, and you know how fucking empty they are, basically.
You know, as we're sitting here talking about it, though, I'm wondering if this movie could have accomplished that mission of like being a commentary on Wall Street without being about a psychopathic killer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I would say half or more than half of the movie is probably just the sarcastic portrayal of these rich Wall Street people in their daily life, trying to get, you know, dinner reservations. Like every other scene is them mentioning like where they're gonna have dinner, where's the reservation, what, you know, what's happening, or like comparing business cards, which, you know, we'll put a pin in that. We'll come back to the
They're
business
so
cards.
like trying hard to make a reservation at Dorsia.
Yeah. Well, it's like half of the job is just impressing the people that you work with.
I know.
When, you know, I mean, it kind of makes sense because a lot of these people, I think in the movie, he's supposed to be like 27 years old.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
it's like he's
crazy.
a vice president of this company.
Crazy.
And it's like, how did you get this job at 27? You know, they mention it in passing that his dad basically owns the company. So it's like, oh, of course, like that's how you get this type of job.
Yeah.
You're on the fast track from when you're born to like get into this position.
But like, if you think about it, if he graduated, he said graduated Harvard.
Yeah, I
right?
think he went to Harvard. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's only 27. There's ain't no way he has that much of experience enough to become vice president in like that amount of short years. You know.
It reminds me of have you ever? Well, you haven't seen it, but Succession. Succession, the TV show on you can watch on HBO. It does a really good job of explaining how that happens.
Yeah.
It's like there was never going to be anybody else in this position. You know, he's vice president.
Yeah.
He had to go to Harvard to legitimize himself to other people.
Yeah.
But honestly, even if he didn't, it seems like his family would have figured out a way to put him in
Yeah.
that position. But anyway, you know, the movie opens up with him being narcissistic, trying to impress his coworkers, you know, impressing people around him while he's suppressing his inner desires. And I really like the narration that happens. Like it's done really, really well. And what I heard was that, I keep saying what I heard, what I read online was that the narration in the movie is like straight out of the book.
I mean, it's gotta be. It's very well written.
Like almost word for word.
Yeah.
The only stuff that they take out from the, you know, transposing from the book to the movie is the name brands and stuff. So that was another thing I wanted to mention. Like, so you know how they're so obsessed with what suits they're wearing, what jewelry they're wearing. So in the book, it like mentions those things by name.
Yeah.
You know, you got Armani, you got your Rolexes, and I'm not super into that type of stuff. You might know more about it.
Yeah.
But in the movie, they weren't allowed to use those brands because it's a rated R movie and they didn't want to be associated with, you know, murdering strippers.
Which
and
just makes
hookers and
sense.
stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they found a way to do it. They found a couple of companies that were willing to let all the supporting actors, you know, wear their name brand stuff, their high end stuff, but they wouldn't let Patrick Bateman, like they wouldn't let Christian Bale wear it. So they're like, as long as anybody but the serial killer wears it, it's okay.
We do not want to associate with kind of serial killer.
But so we kind of get an introduction to Patrick Bateman's like true character with the introduction of Paul Allen during the business card scene.
Yeah.
Where they're like, you know, having a dick measuring contest
It's
with the
absurd.
It's the best scene in the movie.
Absurd.
I mean, and it like really breaks down the characters. It's like an insane way to do it, but it really breaks down the characters.
Yeah, it was keep making me laugh because over a fucking piece of paper.
Yeah, but I mean, if you got to think about it, like in that world,
of
when
course
you're like
they're
constantly
gonna
comparing each other,
of course they're gonna compete with the fucking piece of paper. Of course they were gonna do that, but still, I think it's fucking absurd and so funny. They were like, you know, competing with the material, font, what color they use on the font. It's so like, it's just showing how materialistic they are.
I mean, on one hand, I agree with you. It's real petty, and they shouldn't care. But on the other hand, I mean, having an off-white business card with the eggshell texture, I'm just saying. Can you imagine that feeling in your hand? Have you ever held a business card?
I have before. I have before.
Bend it, and you're like, God dang, this is really nice. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I don't think I ever got that type of like fancy business card.
See, I think that might be a man thing as well.
Is it? I don't think so. Business card is a business card.
No, I really think it's like a men thing where like the thing that you have that's supposed to represent you, you want it to be like the best representation it could be. You know what I mean?
I mean, of course. I mean, at the time, business cards was really important.
Yeah, it's like your Instagram profile. The business card was an Instagram profile of the 80s. So you want it to be like just perfect, just so perfectly symmetrical. You want to have a little bit of, you know, gold, like, what's it called? Gold inlay. You want it to have just the right texture, just the perfect texture, just, you know.
Yeah, which is so absurd and ridiculous.
But anyway, I really think Paul Allen's fate was sealed when he had the best business card.
Yeah.
And you know, Patrick Bateman was not gonna let that slide.
Did you see the face? He looking at the business card and he was fuming, and he probably like instantly thought, oh, I need to kill this fucking guy.
I don't know, I'm wondering. So I heard that one of Christian Bale's like supreme actor skills is that he can sweat on command.
Really?
Yeah. And if that's true, I really feel like it was on display in this
sweat
movie.
On command?
Yeah. Didn't you notice, like, anytime it was like an intense scene, he would just start pouring sweat?
It could be easily the makeup.
It could be, but I'm just saying, I feel like Christian Bale, who's like, he fancies himself a thespian. He's a thespian. He would have mastered the skill of sweating on command.
I mean, I can kind of understand if he like puts that type of nervous emotion into it when he acts. I can kind of understand how that can happen on command. But holy shit, if that's true, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Another thing that I heard was that a lot of the people on set with him thought that he was like a really bad actor. They really thought that he was, but you kind of get that, and this, I brought this up to you when we were watching it. You kind of get that sense, and I think it's actually done really well. Where it's
Me
like
too.
He's putting on, when someone who doesn't understand human emotions tries to recreate human emotions.
Yeah,
it's always on too thick. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So I really get that vibe. He's like laying it on so thick because this is how he thinks other humans interact and see each other.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really well done. But then there are moments where you can see him slip into like the real character.
Yeah.
Like when he was trying to get the dry cleaning done.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to hold it together and you can see him slip into that.
You
and
fucking bitch, get it done.
Exactly. But it's like it's like masterful the way he can like slip into this like cheesy, sarcastic, like yuppie character.
Yeah.
And then slide back into the psychopath fucking I will jump over this counter and like string all these people right now.
You know what they say? Like sociopathic people, psychopathic people, and like narcissistic people, they all like learn how to mask their emotion and how to pretend basically so well. So I think that was really portrayed well in the movie, how every time he says a line, like sometimes you can tell it kind of sounds like basically too much, but he's supposed to sound that way, I think, in my opinion. And I think he like just basically perfectly done it.
Yeah, because like to the character's mind, to Patrick Bateman's mind, it doesn't sound overdone.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
sounds to him the way all these other fucking ding-a-ling sound. You know, when they're sitting around in a circle and they're saying all kinds of crazy shit, and he's just like, "Well, this is what people say, so that's how I'm gonna speak.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I'm gonna use this inflection of yabba-dabba-doo-ba-dabba-doo, yabba-dabba-doo." Well, not like that, but
Wait, excuse me. What?
that's how he would talk.
Yeah, but
Like, well, Jim, you know, we go to the business meeting and then we come back and we go to Dorsia. Like, that's how they sound to him.
yeah, and the other people are not that different than him.
Mm-hmm.
They all sound like fucking knobs,
Yeah,
assholes, dickheads.
I agree. Well, but I guess that's the point. But so he brings Jared Leto, was another person we forgot to mention is in this movie. Back before he became like this corny ass. This was before 30 Seconds to Mars, right?
No,
When did 30 Seconds to Mars start?
early 2000.
But this came out in 2000, so that means they casted for it in the mid 90s or late 90s.
Yeah.
So was he an actor before he was a musician?
Do you now remember?
No, I didn't listen to freaking 30 Seconds to Mars.
No, but he was in Fight Club.
Oh yeah, he was in Fight Club.
Yeah,
Huh?
and I think it was after this movie. He was also in Requiem for a Dream,
Which I've never seen.
Blow. Was it Blow? All kinds of movie. Yeah, he used to be a great actor.
Used to be being the most important thing. But anyway, so he gets his head chopped off, and then we move swiftly along into the downward spiral.
Wait, before we talk about that, we have to talk about how great his movement was
in
when
the
he
scene?
killed Paul Allen. Yeah.
He was just like so excited.
I know.
He was just like, oh, do you know about who was the guy that they're listening to? Phil Collins?
No, not the Phil Collins. Some guys in the news.
I don't remember.
Blah blah in the news. It was in like the Square CD case.
Well, all the CD cases were square.
True. Valid.
But anyway, he looks like he's about to, sleep with the woman of his dreams.
Yeah, no. Was so excited putting
That's what he
raincoat
gets
on.
That's what he gets right from the Better Business card.
And guess what?
What?
That movement where he starts dancing and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it was all improvised by Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
I guess so. I mean, it just adds to the layers of the character.
Yeah.
Like how giddy he gets.
And like it's showing how brilliant of an actor he is.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just like a hint of touch that made the scene epic.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important that we spend a lot of time talking about this specific interaction between him and Paul Allen, Patrick Bateman, because this is kind of what starts the plot and earnest of the movie.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie is him trying to cover up this murder
Yeah.
that he does. Like he kills this guy, he tries to hide the body, and basically come up with like a story like, oh, Paul Allen went to London.
Yeah.
And he's trying to move suspicion away from himself. Although he was seen trying to stick the body in like a taxi or something
Yeah.
by his, gay lover, Lewis. whatever his name was.
Yeah, but the what's it called? Overnight suitcase? Was
Oh,
it
yeah.
overnight bag? And
which I mean, that whole his interaction between his coworkers is like insane. He's sleeping with the one guy's wife while the other guy's sleeping with his fiance, Reese Witherspoon, and it's like, what is going on?
I know.
But anyway, so he's trying to, get rid of the body. This all leads to all the suspicion, and that's where Willem Dafoe's character comes in.
Yeah, my
starts
man.
pressing him, and it's never like an overt like we think you. It doesn't ever feel like an investigation. It always feels like him just like asking questions.
But you can tell, I don't know, it's just me, but I feel like Willem Dafoe knew it was suspicious. He was suspicious, and he was kept asking him the type of question with the intention of letting him know, I knew what you did.
So here's a little bit of gee whiz information for you.
Oh man.
So when they filmed that scene where he's initially, I think it's like a second time when he comes back to interrogate him again.
Yeah.
So they filmed it in 3 different ways.
Okay.
Basically. So they filmed it not the first, but they filmed it one way where Willem Dafoe's character knows that Patrick Bateman is the killer.
Yeah.
Then they filmed it another way where he kind of thinks he is, but he's not too sure. And then they filmed it another way where he has like no idea. So what they did was in post, they melded them all together. So that way you as the viewer wouldn't know. It's kind of like confusing. Like, does he know? Does he not know? From one scene to another, it's like he's jumping around all over the place. And it's done really well to where, it puts the mystery into the viewer.
I want to see the full version of all 3 of them.
Yeah. Well, they have it online. You can look it up on YouTube. They
Really?
have in the deleted scenes, they have each version of it.
Oh
and
my God.
This is just a testament to Willem Dafoe's like acting. Like each one is very distinct. Where it's like the little things he does, the way he like presses him.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I know. It's like you said, just he doesn't say anything directly, but you can get it from his like, the way he's speaking to him. So I thought that was really interesting. That's like a nice little tidbit to the movie.
He's a great actor. He's a great
Just say what you
actor.
want to say. You think he's like...
He's a great actor.
You think he's incredibly attractive?
I mean, his nickname is Willem Dafoe for nothing.
Oh, God. I don't understand. Willem Dafoe looks like... In every movie I've seen him in, except Platoon, he looks like he escaped from an insane asylum. And he's just like running around, just like staring at people with those fucking crazy ass eyes.
That's not attractive to you?
No! What kind of question is that?
I mean, to each their own. He said it in the movie. To each their own.
So he's getting pressed by this detective. Patrick Bateman's character is getting pressed by this detective. He's trying to come up with his way. Another thing I think is interesting about this character specifically, and I wonder if this is in the book, he thinks he's smarter than everybody around him. And that kind of comes across in the movie a little bit. Like he thinks he can outwit the detective. He thinks he can outwit his assistant, who his assistant always seems to have like a little bit of like apprehension. Like she kind of knows there's something wrong with him. And then like even like the stripper or the escorts and the prostitutes that he hires, they all know that there's something wrong with him.
But you know what though? By acting like that makes him even more suspicious. You know, like each and every time he gets interrogated by Willem Dafoe, he like trying to make up some stupid shit and keep trying to like, you can tell he's keep actively trying to steer the conversation to the other side. And that's, you know, clearly making him more suspicious, don't you think?
And you know what else? It's actually in those interrogations and in his interactions with that detective where you start to get the first hints, like the little sprinkles that maybe not everything is as it seems. Because Willem Dafoe's character, the detective, starts to sprinkle in like the facts that he's able to find out don't even match with what Patrick Bateman thinks happened.
Yeah.
So that's when you're watching the movie and you're like, well, what is actually going on? Because you see the movie from Patrick Bateman's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems like everyone around him is living in a different reality a little bit.
Completely
you know what I mean?
different reality.
Yeah, like what he-
nothing he thought it happened.
So, you know, moving along, has his interaction with these sex workers. He brings them over the first time, and he has this like insane scene, which I heard that scene where he brings them over the first time,
Yeah.
almost got this movie an NC-17 rating, which I don't know if you know what that
what does
is.
that mean?
So NC-17 is above R. So NC-17 is like you have to be 17 or older to see this movie, whereas I think R is like you can like. If you have your parents' permission, you can come in
Really?
and see it if you're below that age. But NC-17 is like only 17 and above. And movies made in America generally stay away from that because it's like box office like murder. You know what I mean? It's like you're never gonna make your money back,
Yeah.
at least at the box office. But
God damn.
so apparently that scene was way worse than what we even saw.
God
originally.
damn. Oh my God.
But they
I
like
wish I
dialed it
would've seen
down.
that. Yeah.
He does unspeakable acts to these women. They leave, and then now he's like, I feel like that was him. That whole interaction was him like regaining his power because he didn't do anything. I mean, he did stuff to them, but he didn't kill them.
Mm-hmm.
So, although
That's my
no,
another
we see
question.
both of them leave.
Like, why didn't he kill them?
I think it was him like asserting his power over them. Like that was him like controlling other people was him like maintaining his control. Although he does introduce himself as like Paul Allen. And he,
Yeah.
like gives them specific names. So I don't know what that was. But
Himself is very confusing character.
yeah. And honestly, this movie kind of makes me want to read the book just to see, because typically in books you get a lot more texture to characters.
That's very true because they have all the fucking pages to describe the situation, describe him, describe environment, describe whatever brand he's wearing. So yeah, I would say reading a book is a good idea. I should look it up if they have Korean version.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
But so you know, he has this interaction with these sex workers. He thinks he has a grapple back on his reality, but then Willem Dafoe's character starts to find out more information. He starts pressing him harder, and Patrick Bateman starts to like unravel. He starts to become a little bit more, you know, he gets out of, I don't know if you noticed, but in the beginning he's like strict to his like protocol, like the things he does every morning. And as the movie goes on, he's like getting out of these things, and then he's just improvising. He's just like, whatever happens, you know, he's smart enough to know that he needs to protect himself. So what he starts doing is bringing people back to Paul Allen's apartment and impersonating Paul Allen, and then like trying to, I don't know, kill people and murder people in Paul Allen's apartment to give this illusion that Paul Allen is the actual psychopathic killer and not himself.
How stupid is that? How stupid of him is it?
I mean, I think he was like in a psychotic frenzy though. You know what I mean?
Isn't he always in a psychotic frenzy?
But before it was controlled and measured, like he was able to measure, like he would lash out every now and then. But once there was heat on him, he wasn't thinking, I mean, he was already not thinking rationally, but he was just trying to protect his own ass. So he starts doing things just like, you know, without thinking them through. You know, bringing people back to Paul Allen's apartment, roofing them, and like killing. He brought one of the same prostitutes back because I guess he figured it would be easy enough to get her to come back, murdering people, like chasing this chick down the hall with the chainsaw.
I know, with like blood covered in blood and fucking bare naked.
Yeah, which I think is another clue that whatever he thinks is happening never happened, because there's no way that whole thing would have transpired and nobody would have seen. You know, he's in an apartment in downtown New York.
There's no way that Paul Allen was the only one who's living in that floor.
Yeah.
There's no way. And when the prostitute knocks on the door, on everybody's door, and nobody answers, I was like, that's kind of weird. Did that really happen? or did it not? You started wondering.
But yeah, I mean, he ends up killing her and the other lady, and then that's when the cork really pops off the bottom.
Yeah,
Like, everything just
definitely.
went out. He's like completely
Fucking
lost his mind.
Unhinged
He's just
killing spree.
off the reservation, just walking around with a pistol that they never address where this pistol comes from. By the
I
way.
know.
They've never shown it before. You know, with his personality, he would have addressed it in the narration. He's like, you know, I have this Glock pistol. You know, it's this year. I polish it every day to make sure it works. He just pulls it out.
Yeah.
And it's just like his fantasy just gets more and more elaborate to where
Yeah.
he's just like popping people as he's walking down the street, blows up a cop car with one. And I thought this was interesting. He shoots the cop car and blows it up, and he looks at the pistol like, there's no way.
Yeah, holy shit, that really happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's another signal that it's like, what the
Yeah.
what the heck is happening?
And he killed a grandma.
Oh,
Poor
yeah.
grandma.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to talk about the kitten scene because as much as I'm not like a huge animal person,
Mm-hmm.
cruelty towards animals is like never cool.
I know.
But I think it's an insight to how like deranged he is.
yeah,
You know, he's,
how
like,
not
losing
giving a
his mind.
fuck he is.
Yeah. Like the ATM is talking to him. Now, once that happens, you already know this is. I think everything from. When do you think like the delusion starts?
Ooh. Good question. I would say when he started killing Paul Allen. After Paul Allen's murder, that's where like he started just fucking going downhill and started killing people left and right.
I mean, so just to jump ahead, I really think. So the end of this movie is like this whole big ambiguous mystery. I don't really think it is that mysterious. I really think it has to do with we're seeing inside his mind, and I think that is shown in the movie when his assistant is going through his daily log. Or what did they call it? A schedule? What did they call it back then? I don't even know.
I would say scheduler.
Scheduler.
Yeah.
What do they call it in Korean?
Scheduler.
Scheduler.
Yeah.
When his assistant is looking through his scheduler and seeing all the crazy, like insane things that he's drawn in there, I think that was the signal. It's like this person is deranged. He has fashioned this whole alternate life for himself, and he's acting it out this way. None of this actually happened.
Yeah, he has like
And
murderous tendency, but it never actually happened.
Yeah. So that's what I was getting at. I really think that like after that scene with the card, like the scene with the business cards is the demarcation line from reality to fantasy.
Oh.
And like everything after that is just like pure fantasy. Like him just like on this like insane, because you got to think about it.
Good opinion.
You got to think about it. Like he was put in this position where his handed the keys to the throne. Like they mentioned it, like his father basically owns a company. He is meant to be the top of the shit pile. He's like the king. But there's all these people that are trying to get at him. So his ego is taking hits constantly.
Yeah. Everybody says Patrick Bateman is fucking nerd, dork.
Exactly. Like exactly. Like the way he sees himself and the way the outside world sees himself are completely different. Everybody else in the movie is cooler than him. You know what I mean? Amongst their own friend groups. So then he turns inward and is like, you know what? Fuck these guys. I'm going to start killing people.
Yeah.
And then that's when the fantasy takes over of him just like going on this murderous, like, you know,
Killing spree.
and just murdering everyone around him, because you can't always win just based on like who you are, how much money you have.
Of course.
Sometimes you have to like, you know, exert your strength over people by murdering people.
That doesn't really matter sometimes. Yeah.
So I think, just to skip ahead a little bit, I think that's what the, let's say, second and third act of this movie is him just like losing his mind. And even I really do even think that he did hire those prostitutes and he did act that way towards him as a way again of like exercising his influence over them with his money. You see how like flippant he is with his money. He's just like throwing money at everybody.
Yeah.
Every problem is just throwing money at.
Yeah.
Like that's where he finds in the real world. That's where his strength comes from. But where money won't, do, he starts murdering people. And
Murder is answer sometimes.
yeah. Well, murdering. Okay, this is a disclaimer. Murdering is never the answer.
Violence is never the answer.
Exactly. But so he spirals out of control. Starts killing a bunch of people. Calls his lawyer. Can you explain what happens?
Oh my god, so he calls the lawyer, have absolute fucking psychotic breakdown.
Amazing scene, by the way.
It is very amazing scene. I was very mind blown by his acting. It was very serious. Anyway, so he has total fucking meltdown, and the next day he calls a fucking what's her name, Jean, assistant, and have another breakdown, and then finally decided to fucking go meet the lawyer. And then guess what? He's saying he just thinks it's a prank, and he just try to brush it off. And then Patrick Bateman was like, what the fuck are you on about? I actually did kill people. And the lawyer was like, oh, you did not. I know you're joking because I just had dinner with Paul Allen 10 days ago, and just fucking fucks off. And yeah.
Didn't he call him something other than Patrick Bateman though?
Davis.
He called him Davis.
Lawyer called Patrick Bateman Davis, didn't he? Yeah.
So, and again, I think that, but his business card said Patrick Bateman. So was he that insane?
So are you saying his name is actually Davis? And then he portrayed himself as Patrick Bateman?
He thought of himself that way.
And then I guess lawyer knew him when he was Davis, and the other people knew him when he was Patrick Bateman?
I think the Patrick Bateman thing was just him. But people interacted with him and called him Bateman though.
That ending scene, last 5 minutes, 10 minutes of this movie is so fucking confusing to me. Each and every time I watch this movie is so confusing and what the fuck just happened?
But he kind of says it in the beginning. He says that there's an idea of a Patrick Bateman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he's saying the quiet, what we would say in English is saying the quiet part out loud. I think he's very blatantly saying what is going on, but it's so insane that people don't take it you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's he fashioned this character, this persona, and that's how he's navigating the world. You know what I mean? Everybody else around him doesn't see him that way, but this is his protective shell. So he can make his way through the world. And maybe we're thinking about this way too much. Maybe it's not that in depth. But like you're saying, the ending is so confusing. It's how are you supposed to know?
Did the lawyer really have dinner with Paul Allen 10 days ago?
Did the lawyer even exist?
Good call.
When he went back to the table, did anybody acknowledge that he was speaking to that lawyer?
No. Holy shit.
Holy shit.
But why would he call him Davis? Holy shit. Yeah, nobody in the table recognized the lawyer and didn't even ask a question, did they? Damn, maybe that's the answer. Holy shit. Could be the answer.
Could be. But that's pretty much the ending right there. He has this little exit monologue.
I know.
He basically says, "This is all super fucked. I'm never gonna get caught for this." Which again, that adds even more to the mystery because he says, "I'm never gonna be held accountable for the things I did." And it's
he didn't do it.
Exactly. He probably didn't do it. It was just all one big wet dream.
Yeah. That's hell of a wet dream if you ask me.
Do you think a movie like this could even be made nowadays?
Yeah. Why not?
I just feel like the way they talked about women Like, and of course, it's all like it. The whole movie is like sarcasm. But I feel like people nowadays would take it like so offensively that it would never get made.
But it's just a movie.
Yeah, but nowadays people don't see movies as just movies. Every movie is like a commentary on like.
But it's just a movie. Who would think like, oh my god, I'm offended out of a fucking movie? Fictional movie.
I'm just saying. I agree with you. Movies are meant to be, from my perspective, movies are meant to be escapes from reality.
Exactly.
But
Who the
people
fuck?
don't see it that way nowadays. I feel like people nowadays think movies should be reflections of reality.
Well, they're wrong. They're dead ass wrong. What the fuck?
All right. I'm not trying to get down. I'm not trying to argue one way or the other. Because that's a rabbit hole you'll never get out of.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's get to the ratings. If you had to rate this movie out of 5 butcher knives, how many butcher knives are you giving this movie?
I would give 4 butcher knives out of 5. Just because I'm kind of confused about the ending. I mean, now that we talk about the ending, it kind of makes more sense. But I feel like it could have been done more better way. I mean, generally, overall, it was fucking brilliant. Great movie. I fucking love this movie so much. I love everybody's acting. And however, the ending, it was just so confusing every time I watch it. So I would give 4 out of 5 butcher knives.
Okay.
How about you?
I think I'm going to give this movie, and I'm pretty stingy with my
You
ratings.
are very stingy review star person.
I'm going to give this movie 5 out of 5 butcher knives.
What?
5 out of 5. And
What?
I could get into like a whole big, analysis of why I think this movie is really good. But it's really for one reason.
It's because of Willem Dafoe, isn't it?
No. If I ever see Willem Dafoe on the streets, we're fighting. You trying to take,
Whoa.
trying to take
What
my woman?
fighting?
The number one thing I can say about this movie that I really like is So this movie is almost 2 hours long. Which-
Is it?
It's an hour and 42 minutes.
Really?
And that's why I'm giving it a 5 out of 5.
Didn't feel that way.
Exactly. Because movies that don't feel long are my favorite type of movies. If that makes sense.
I get it.
Movies where from scene to scene that are so interesting, the plot is so interesting, the story is so interesting. Even if I end up having questions at the end or be confusing or whatever, the fact that I was able to hold my attention for the entire runtime, I feel like deserves that is the mark of a good movie to me. You know what
Definitely
I mean?
agree. Definitely.
And so the reason why I'm giving it a 5 is because I'm trying to mark the standard that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Like, you could make a movie about whatever, as long as it's interesting for the entire runtime. I think it's a success.
Yeah, like they don't waste the whole scene by scene.
Yeah, no scene is wasted. Even scenes where you're like, what is happening? It's not in a way that's like, I wish this wasn't here. It's in a way that makes you think like, wow, what were they trying to say here? Why was this scene so important that they had to fit it in here? So I'm giving 5 out of 5 butcher knives. And
I'm giving 4 out of 5 butcher knives.
Alrighty. So that's our review of The American Psycho. An amazing movie.
Awesome.
I think we were 5 years old when that movie came out.
Yeah, we probably was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But an amazing movie.
Christian Bale's brilliant actor. Brilliant actor. He's like the best child actor of all time.
Child actor?
Yes, he was.
In what?
Empire of the Sun?
I've never seen. What is that? I've never seen that.
Is-
We might have to add it to the list.
Okay.
Empire of the Sun. He was a child actor?
He was a child actor. You can see him like very, very, very young. Young baby boy Christian Bale. You can see him in the movie. But yeah, I think he's very brilliant actor, and the movie that was amazing. Amazing movie.
Alrighty. Okay, so moving right along, we're gonna start a new segment here where we're gonna talk about news or like any like current events, things that we want to get into in the entertainment field. So I will let you jump off with this. Do you have anything you're looking forward to? Any movies you're looking forward to? TV shows, music, games?
Definitely Deadpool.
Deadpool. Yeah. You ready to see if they can revive the MCU?
I am 100% sure they can revive the MCU single-handedly. I am so excited about the movie. You know, after the Avengers ended, all the other movies were quite shit.
You can say it.
quite shit. But this movie made me got excited in a long time. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. We should definitely go see it in IMAX theater. The biggest theater we can find around Colorado.
I want to see it in 4DX.
Yes, 4DX, IMAX, whatever it is. Let's go see it. I do not mind spending money on it. I am so ready to watch it. Just, you know, the fact that they're bringing Wolverine back. Aren't you excited about that? No, don't sigh at me. Don't you sigh at me.
I have complicated feelings because I really feel like they're so Logan was supposed to be the end for this Wolverine.
I was just going to ask that. You feel like they should have ended from Logan?
And instead of letting Logan, you know, be the end, they're like, well, this universe is dying. We're not making our money back. What do fans want to see? Well, let's bring, you know, Hugh Jackman back.
Yeah.
Everybody seemed to like Hugh Jackman. Let's, you know, throw him in a movie.
I like him.
And even if he does do good in the movie's amazing, I really don't like the idea that Hollywood is like, well, let's just dig this old, you know, there's all this talk about bringing Robert Downey Jr. back as Iron Man. It's like, no, don't bring these people back. Like, you guys made your bed, you need to lie in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's how I feel about it. I feel like we're being pandered to. I will go see this movie just because I really like the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool and I really like Wolverine, but I really don't like Hollywood thinking that, oh, we'll just dig up this corpse of a human being, feed them a shit ton of steroids and be like, the fans will come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the fact that it's like Marvel's one and only rated R movie, isn't it? Oh, MCU.
I think Blade originally was rated R, and I think the new Blade is supposed to be rated R. So
is that even gonna come out?
And they're going through a lot of turmoil right now.
Is that even gonna come out?
They're having a really hard time. I think it's directors that they keep dropping out. Because I think that they want them to make a movie that people don't. Because Blade is a very specific kind of movie. I think they want them to change it in like to something that fits the modern audience. And I have a suspicion that that's where the conflict is coming from.
Just fucking do what you want to do. People who like will like. If they don't, they can go fuck themselves.
So yeah, I mean we'll see it, and if you guys are interested, we will put out a little quick review of the movie, spoiler-free review of the movie.
Yeah.
After we go see it, and let you know our initial thoughts. So
yeah,
check into all of our social medias for that, and on YouTube. But
how about you?
I think so. The big news for me this week that came out was, you got it, Morty. You got the itch. That's the podcast pup Morty. He's itching. But anyway, did you hear that the Halo TV show was canceled?
Oh, okay. That's good then.
That's good. So they had 2 seasons. And after season 2, they're like, nobody wants to see this show. You know what? If you guys are interested, send us an email to the Beanbag Box Podcast or DM us on Instagram, and I will do a specific Halo TV show review series just for those that are interested, because I have some serious thoughts about this show.
You mean Halo Rant series instead of review series?
I am a diehard Halo fan. I'm an Xbox head through and through, and Halo, as you might know, is like the most important IP for Xbox. And when they decided to make a TV show, and they were like, you know, in the first episode, Master Chief is gonna take off his helmet and be this emotional character. It's like, we're not here for that. We want to see Master Chief blowing people up and killing freaking elites and grunts. And
You're ranting already. You're not gonna review this shit. You're ranting already.
I say all that to say, they canceled the show after season 2. And on one hand, I'm upset because this was like the most push behind until Fallout came out, honestly. Fallout came out, this was the biggest push behind a video game IP that I think we've ever seen. Where they're like, we're going to make a dedicated show.
Yeah.
Fallout did it right. Halo did it completely wrong. Fallout followed the lore of the show. They're like, we're not going to change anything. Mm-hmm. We know what the fans want. Halo was like, Halo did what a lot of modern TV shows do. We're going to take the show. We're going to make it our own. We're going to make it for modern audiences.
There's nothing wrong with that if it's done correctly.
No, everything is wrong with that. They keep trying to be like, oh, we're going to make the show. We're going to get new audiences.
Yeah.
if they're not on board by now, they're not going to get on board. So if you're going to make this show, you need to make it for the people that are going to watch it, which are the diehard fans.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say, R.I.P. Halo TV show on Paramount. It was a horrifically bad run. Nothing was good.
Nothing was good.
You will not be missed.
Nothing about it.
The action scenes were pretty good.
Yeah,
like when they were like blown up fucking elites. I was gonna say the action scenes are good, but then the costumes were horribly bad.
Was it?
Yeah, and then they had, of course, like on one hand, you know what? I'm gonna save this. If you guys want to hear my in-depth perspective on the Halo TV show, like and subscribe and send emails.
Please comment.
And I will put out let's say 2 to 3 episodes a week, going over every episode of the Halo show.
Oh, shit.
Letting you guys know how I really feel. If you want the dirt. But the last thing I wanted to talk about, Jumpman, was Shaun of the Dead is getting a new theatrical re-release because it's a 20-year anniversary
let's go.
of that movie.
I would love to go watch it.
Okay, put it on the to-do list of things to do.
Oh my god, I would love to go watch it.
Let us know if you guys want to hear that analysis.
We should go cosplay.
Cosplay as what?
As, those... What's the guy? Nick Frost and...
Simon Pegg? Who's who?
I'll do Nick Frost and you can do Simon Pegg. And we should... You know, like the white shirts and red tie.
Yeah, I know.
And me looking like a fucking lunatic. And we should definitely go and do that.
If we do that, then you got to be zombie Nick Frost. And I'll be regular, like, disheveled Simon Pegg.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I don't know if people are going to recognize it, but I'll do it. Shit.
I think if you show up for the 20th anniversary showing of that movie, I think people would recognize it.
Yeah, that would be fun. Very fun. Oh my god, I would definitely go watch that. Let's do that.
Alrighty.
Why are you laughing?
You guys have stuff to look forward to, but so that was our review of American Psycho. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please like and subscribe if you like what you heard. Please follow us on the various social media things. Follow us on Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube and all the good stuff. Please leave reviews. That really goes a long way to helping us. We're committed to bringing you guys more episodes.
Yeah. We appreciate every comment, every reaction, just anything. We appreciate it.
Yeah. If you guys are spending your time to watch the show, we're going to spend our time to keep making it for you guys. So thank you for tuning in. And that's the Big Bad Box Podcast.
See you next time.
Peace.
Bye.